February 2025. A small student room, one desk, one old laptop. Roy Lee, 21, is not studying. He's not gaming. He's not even pretending to work. He's about to quietly embarrass some of the biggest tech companies on the planet. Roy leans over his keyboard, eyes darting between a Zoom interview and something else. Not a second monitor. Not a wall of servers, just a tiny box floating over his code editor. Inside that box, ChatGPT. The recruiter on the other end has no idea it's there. They think Roy is wrestling through a tough coding problem, live on camera. In reality, Roy takes a quick screenshot, sends it to the AI, copies the answer, and pastes it into the interview, calm like he's just checking the weather. Outside this room, a tech giant has no clue it's being used as a test subject. And when you poke a trillion-dollar company and your own university in the same week, something's going to explode. Landing a job at Amazon, Meta, TikTok, or one of the big tech giants is already a nightmare. The toughest part? The technical interview. You sit on Zoom, live on camera, solving weird little coding puzzles. Things you will never see on the job, but which apparently reveal your soul to the company. Roy, a sophomore at Columbia, had a plan. Graduate in 2026, work for big tech, live the dream. At least that was the plan, until he started training for these interviews, and the dream died faster than his campus Wi-Fi. Roy is a perfectionist, which in this context is code for willing to suffer for absurdly long periods. He spent 600 hours grinding on LeetCode, an online platform for practicing interview puzzles. Some nights he'd sit in front of the same problem for hours, tweaking one tiny line of code, refreshing test cases like a gambler pulling a slot machine lever. The problems themselves often felt absurd. Given a binary tree, determine if it's symmetric. Questions with zero overlap to the work most engineers actually do. His profile became proof of just how much time he'd sunk into this. And the more he practiced, the more it all looked like a play. These questions didn't test real-world skills, they tested whether you could pretend to be surprised by a problem you'd already memorized. It was algorithm karaoke. So he built the shortcut. The idea came one night while he was screen sharing with a friend, practicing mock interviews. He realized that the question on the screen could be turned into text and fed straight into an AI. 4 days later, he had it. A little app called Interview Coder. You snap a picture of the problem. The app reads the text right out of the image, sends it to ChatGPT, and spits back a formatted solution all in seconds. Then you paste it in, all while the recruiter and their monitoring software are none the wiser. The whole thing could be built in under 1,000 lines of code, and Roy just put it on GitHub, like an open source cheat sheet for beating big tech. Roy used Interview Coder to ace interviews at TikTok, Meta, and Amazon. They all gave him offers. The Amazon one was his biggest product demo. He recorded the entire technical interview and uploaded it to YouTube. Within hours, the video started bouncing around engineering Slack channels and Reddit threads. Some viewers thought it was hilarious. Some were already DMing friends about how interview processes might never be the same. 2 days after that Amazon video went live, Columbia got an anonymous complaint accusing Roy of cheating. It claimed Amazon would pull the offer and was upset that a Columbia student had cheated. The tone was basically, "We've been friends a long time, Columbia. Handle your boy." The email from Columbia's disciplinary board landed in Roy's inbox. The subject line read Academic Integrity Inquiry. Roy didn't open it right away. By the time he did, the date was already set. A closed-door hearing, a panel of faculty, and a formal review of his conduct. To him, it all sounded like theater, and he'd already decided he wasn't buying a ticket. Columbia scheduled the hearing. Roy didn't bother showing up. He told reporters he wasn't trying to work for Amazon. The interview was a public stress test for his app, and it had done its job. And he had a bigger belief driving him. AI was about to wipe out most traditional knowledge work. Give it 2 years, he said, and a lot of office jobs would be pointless. So why waste time warming a desk? In March, Columbia suspended him for a year over the Amazon interview. Roy took that as a sign and left for good. His Amazon video spread fast in tech circles. So did news of Columbia's suspension. But the attention brought something else: customers. In April, Roy teamed up with 2 classmates and launched a company called Cluely. Their slogan? Cheat on everything. The main product, a more advanced interview coder, didn't just solve coding problems. It gave job seekers AI-generated answers, background info, and prompts during live video interviews without the interviewer knowing. By late June, Cluely had over 70,000 paying subscribers. They'd raised $5.3 million right away, then closed a $15 million round on June 20th. Interview coder subscriptions now go for $60 a month, and Roy's been happy to spend some of that money trolling big tech. Those interviews he posted? Partly a marketing stunt, and in his own words, he didn't have the balls to pull something like this off until recently. But not everyone found it funny. Critics called it deceptive, unethical, bad for hiring, bad for trust. Basically, the bad roommate of the hiring world. Roy didn't care. For him, the whole point was to show how fragile the system really was, and build a business on top of that fact. Today, Roy Lee runs a company with more subscribers than some coding bootcamps. Columbia's suspension didn't slow him down. Amazon's warning didn't scare him. And somewhere out there, he's at another desk, staring into another camera, with another invisible window open, smiling at the fact that a little student laptop experiment made some of the world's most powerful companies look like they'd been outsmarted by a screenshot.